Hi everyone, this is Fernando and welcome back to my channel, The Fair Show. Wow, we are living in the Eurovision week for this year 2022. I can't believe that after a year we've been in Rotterdam and now we are ready to watch the show from Turin. Of course, today, as the title says, I'm going to talk about semi-final 2. I'm going to review the songs and I am going to predict who's going to qualify or not. I have to admit that this is the toughest semi because there's a lot of good entry. I have to admit that I think I like 15 of them, so this is very difficult to predict because everything can happen. Literally. But anyways, this is a prediction. This is a game. Eurovision is a game. So let's not waste time and let's start. Semi-final 2 prediction video. Finland. Opening this year's show, it's Finland, the legendary group, the Rasmus and their entry Jezebel. We were lucky that we have already seen this performance during the national final. Of course, they added stuff to the staging, such as the balloons, so they tweaked it a little bit, but most they kept the same. This is a song about a girl called Jezebel who had really tough time. However, the vibe and the energy that this group has is, let's say, the perfect opener for semi-final 2. I have no doubt that the Erasmus and Finland will not just qualify but shine through the final, and I believe that they deserve it because this song it's quite unique for this year's competition. Israel. Israel this year will be competing with the pop entry I Am, with the artist Michael Ben David, who won the right to compete at Eurovision after winning X Factor Israel. This is the typical Eurovision pop entry, and it talks about who he is, his personality, and of course the fact that he's gay. I mean, it's quite a powerful song. However, I feel that the revamped weakened a little bit this entry. Honestly, I do like this entry. I actually love it. However, considering the competition that there is in this semi-final, I think that it's going to be hard for Israel to qualify. So, unfortunately for me, this entry will not qualify. Serbia. And then we're going to Serbia with Constructa and her entry in Corporere Sano. And this is one of the most favorite entries that I like from this year's competition. I mean, it has something different, and that something different, it's what I love. This is a song about having a healthy body. In corporate sano, when you translate it, it means healthy body. So this song is talking about having a healthy body, but although also it talks about the artist not having health insurance, and practically this entry asks why artists are not being protected by health insurance. And although maybe in some countries these topics might sound a little bit weird, however, in countries like Serbia, which I have to admit that they are in the majority, these topics are still talking about, to the fact that Constructor decided to write a song and take it to Eurovision. Honestly, this is one of the biggest dark horses in this year's competition. It will get a very good public vote. It will get a very good jury vote. So I do believe that this entry will do well, and I honestly believe that the song will also get to the final. Azerbaijan. Nadir from Azerbaijan will be competing with his Bennett entry Fade to Black. This is the typical Bennett entry in a year full of ballads. Honestly, I do enjoy listening to this song. However, every time I listen to this entry, I ask myself, is it enough for this song to qualify? And my gut feeling says no. As we already said, this year is a very harsh competition, especially in the semi. There's already a lot of Bennett entries, which are very good. I'm going to talk about them very soon. So I think this entry will overshadow Azerbaijan. And for this reason, I believe that Azerbaijan, unfortunately, will not qualify. Georgia. Next up is Georgia. This year they will be represented by Circus. Mircus, it's a rock group, and their entry, Lock Me In, and this is a very weird entry. I mean, honestly, it's not my cup of tea. I don't connect with the song, and I simply don't like it. I miss the old Georgian entries. I mean, the past few years, Georgia went literally downhill, and I don't know why, because I miss those traditional Georgian entries. I hope these entries will come back for Georgia, because this is what we want at Eurovision from Georgia. This is what will give them a very, very good result. But unfortunately this year, Circus Mircus for me, it's a non-qualifying entry, and it's one of the most few entries that I skip on Spotify, so I'm sorry, Georgia. Malta. And then we're heading to Malta. Emma Muscat and her entry, I Am What I Am. It is an entry about diversity. It's not a topic that we heard at Eurovision a lot of times. I've seen the staging. This is quite a borderline qualifier. However, when I analyze the countries that are in the semi, Malta has a chance. I wouldn't be surprised if this entry qualifies, and indeed I do believe that this entry will qualify. So for me, Malta is another qualifier. San Marino. Next in line is San Marino, Achille Lauro and his entry Stripper. This is another pop song, also different and weird. It reminds me of Hatari, way back in Tel Aviv. Of course, it's a different version of Hatari. However, Achille Lauro, it's a very famous Italian artist that delivers. I've seen the clip. I do like the staging, and I do believe that somehow San Marino will also make it to the final. So I do predict that San Marino will make it to the final. Australia. Next up is Sheldon Riley from Australia and his ballot entry, Not the Same, and this is no doubt one of the best ballot entries in this year's competition. This is all about Sheldon Riley's life, so he's quite emotional about it. He does deliver that emotion, and also what I really admire from him is the mask that he's portraying, the figure, the character, the mask that it's hiding his autism. And then in the middle of the song, he removes the mask and says like, I'm not the same, I've changed. I think that is a brilliant idea. I think it's a case where simple works. And this is exactly what Australia is all about this year. And I'm pretty sure that Australia will qualify like this, and they deserve it to be back in the final, so Cyprus. And then we're heading to another island in the Mediterranean Sea, this time Cyprus, Andromache and her entry Ella. This is one of the most songs that I like as a studio version. However, when I've listened to the clip, the rehearsal clip, I was a little bit shocked and surprised because her vocals weren't 100%. However, these clips sometimes can be very tricky to judge on because we don't know the whole story, we don't know what happened during that rehearsal, so something might have happened and it affected her vocals, maybe also the artist was sick, we don't know. Definitely the staging, the rest of the staging, I do like it, even though we've seen something similar in the past. Everything looks in shape, and if she can deliver very good vocals on the night, this entry will make it to the final. I still have hope for Cyprus, so far now for me this is a qualifying entry. Ireland. And then we're going to Ireland. This year it will be represented by Brooke and her entry It's Rich. It is another pop entry, and for me this song, it's my guilty pleasure. So I do enjoy listening it on Spotify and on YouTube. However, is it enough for this entry to qualify? I doubt it. It's another song about women empowerment, so we've heard a lot about the subject now at Eurovision, and no, I don't think that this entry will qualify. However, never say never, because it might be a surprise qualifier. North Macedonia. And then we're heading to North Macedonia, Andrea and her ballot entry Circles. I mean, this is a very nice ballad. I really enjoyed especially the first half of it. But then I don't know what happened to the song, and in the second part it's like starts from the beginning, so it's quite repetitive that In the second part, this song bores me a little bit, and it's also a year where there's full of ballads, so there's a lot of choice. Honestly, bad news for North Macedonia. I don't think that this entry has a chance to qualify because I think that there are better ballads. The choice is it's there, and as we said, it's very repetitive. Estonia. Estonia next, and this year they will be represented by Stefan and his entry, Hope. This is a country pop entry, which I really like, and it's all about hope, and it is a very, very good subject in this climate of having a war in Europe, because there's always hope, there is always courage, and I really like the message of this song. I believe that Estonia is one of the biggest victim of the technical issues that the stage has this year, because from the clip we've seen, it looks, I think you've seen it, there's that half of the palk is half lit, it's black, and then you have the video, the backdrop going on. So I think Estonia is no doubt one of the biggest victims of this situation, and I really pity them for that. However, nevertheless, I do believe in the song, I do believe in Stefan, and I do believe that this entry will make it to the final. Romania. Romania this year will be represented by WRS and his pop entry, Yamama Yamame. This is of course a dance entry, it's typical Eurovision. It's also very, very similar to Israeli song. And I do believe that both songs will overshadow each other. And I also believe that Romania will have the same fate as Israel, and this time as a non-qualifying entry, because the song is not that strong and people will get confused. So people will vote either for Romania or for Israel. And it will be 50-50 chance. That's how I'm predicting, that people will vote 50% to Israel, 50% to Romania, and Romania will fail to qualify just for this reason, because they will not have enough voting, unfortunately. Poland. Most probably Poland will be one of the biggest dark horses in this year's competition. They are going to be represented by Christopher Oshman and his ballad entry River, and no doubt that this is one of the best ballad entries that we have in this year's competition. I won't say the best, because I love other ballad entries. However, no doubt that this is one of the most entries that I connect a lot with. I think Poland made a wonderful job with this entry. Even from the clip that we've seen, there's a lot of graphics going on. They didn't just say, okay, we have a ballad and we're going to keep it boring and simple. They worked hard for it. And although we still need to watch the full performance, I do believe that Poland are heading for a top 3 result this year. And of course, I do believe that Poland are flying through the final very, very, very easily. Montenegro. Montenegro this year will be represented by Vladana and her entry, Breed. This is another ballad entry in, as we already said, a year full of ballad entries. I love the song, so I do hear it on Spotify, I do enjoy it on YouTube. However, again, I do believe that there are stronger ballad entries, and if it was in semi-final 1, maybe a qualifier. However, in this semi-final 2, this entry will struggle to make it for the final, and I do believe that this entry will not qualify. Belgium. Jeremy Mackenzie from Belgium will be competing with his entry, Monsieur. A nice fact about Jeremy, he was the first Eurovision artist to be announced by the Belgian broadcaster way back in September. Monsieur, it's another pop ballad entry. This is another entry that I really like, that I really enjoy, but again, same as Montenegro, I do believe that there are better songs, that there are better entries. Most probably I would say that this is a sure qualifier in semi-final 1, but in the semi, this entry, I do believe that it will struggle to make it to the final, even though a lot of people say that this entry is going to qualify. On this one, I do disagree. However, if it qualifies, I will be happy for Belgium, so we'll see, and only time can tell us. Sweden. Then Sweden's turn, Cornelia Jacobs and her entry Hold Me Closer. And this is one of the most emotional entries that we have in this year's competition. Talks about a breakup and the fact that she always finds the right person in the wrong time. But anyways, the lyrics are wonderful. It's a well-produced entry. However, this is a victim of the staging, but this time not because of the sun. There's a technical issue with it, but because of the stage design. Why? As we've seen during Melody Festival, and she had the opportunity to be with the crowd, and the crowd gave her the energy. The staging in Turin, the way it's designed, she can't be with the crowd, and even there's not even standing crowd this year. So, and I do believe that element will be to a disadvantage for Sweden. However, I have no doubt that this entry will make it to the final. Maybe a top 5 entry, but about this I'm going to post a video on Friday where we'll see all the performances and I will tell you my prediction who will be in the top 10, but that is a video for Friday. Czech Republic. Czech Republic will close the show with their entry from We Are Dummy and their entry Lights Off, and I really loved the song. It's a very, very good pop entry. However, one thing that I don't understand is why they gave the song the title Lights Off, and it's all about where are you now, where are you now. So it says this where are you now like millions of times. So, but anyways, it's also, there's the element of building curiosity. So from that end, it makes sense. We've seen the staging looks normal. I don't understand why they put the David on that staging, because I wouldn't put a backdrop of David, but I'm pretty sure it means something. Most probably we'll understand it during that semi. However, I do believe that this entry will pleasantly close the show, and I do believe that this entry will make it to the final, and I also believe that Czech Republic deserve to be in the final because I really, really enjoyed this entry. So my final prediction, I predict that these countries will qualify: Finland, Serbia, Malta, San Marino, Australia, Cyprus, Estonia, Poland, Sweden, and Czech Republic. Please write your comments. Which countries do you think that they're going to get qualified to the Saturday's grand final? And I will see you this week with my top 10 prediction video. And in the meantime, enjoy Eurovision!